Big of Joe.
Please rise for pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Anger? Here. Commissioner Kalani?
Here.
Commissioner Humberson?
Here.
Commissioner Soa?
Here.
Commissioner McNeil?
Here.
All present.
Is there any comment from the public? Anybody wish to stand? Okay, we'll continue. Report.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Approval of the agenda. Item A.
Oh, okay, right. Excuse me.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Sounds unanimous. Okay. Now, a report from the executive session on May 12th.
May 12th, we had an executive session to discuss the Carver Bridge and how we're trying to resolve those issues with the county.
Thank you. Okay, action items. Ordinance, excuse me, ordinance 01-2016. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt ordinance 01-2016 establishing rates, fees, and charges for services with an effective date of July 9, 2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
Excuse me. The moved and seconded. Any comments?
We can do a presentation.
There. Okay.
The staff report this evening, so your Chief Financial Officer, Carol Bright, will present the ordinance. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Good evening. This ordinance 01-2016 is an ordinance of the Clackamas River Water Board of Commissioners establishing rate, fees, and charges for service. We did talk about this at the April meeting, and for an ordinance we're required 30 days, and our May meeting was not quite 30 days after, so that's why we delayed it till the June meeting. That is also why we will have an effective date of July 9th. This ordinance encompasses all of the rates and fees that we currently have out there. So we start with our water rates, and the board approved the 8-year rate plan March 12th of 2014. So all of those tables for the rates will be included as part of the ordinance. Miscellaneous service fees, and I believe in your packet you have the documents that show the fees. These are for things like our insufficient funds check fees, our costs for equipment rental, which is very rare, but sometimes we do intergovernmental equipment rental. We also have fees for tampering. There have been a few changes in the fees from what was approved last year. And the first one is we're increasing the cost of tampering the lock from $150 to $200. And we've also added a clause for to charge time, materials, and overhead for any other tampering with the system or obstructing of the system. This is entered into this document to address things like customers maybe parking a car on top of the meter and not moving it so that we're unable to read the meter, or we're unable to shut off their service for non-payment. We did include in the document a pass-through charge for the Happy Valley right-of-way usage fee, and we updated the equipment and vehicle list to reflect new acquisitions as well as equipment that we have gotten via the surplus process. We're also including our system development charges that were originally established with ordinance 1-97 and has been updated by resolution since then. This ordinance will supersede the resolution, and future changes will be adopted by ordinance. And that's all I have for my presentation.
Any comments, questions?
May I ask a question of the Chief Financial Officer? Is it calendar days or business days? 30 calendar days or 30 business days?
Calendar days.
Anyone else? If not, this was a second reading, I believe.
Correct.
It's been moved and seconded. I'd like to hear a vote. You approve?
Aye.
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 There's one no.
That's great.
Motion passes 4-1.
The next item is the resolution 11/2016.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution number 11-2016, bad debt write-off for fiscal year 2015-16 uncollected water bills, effective date June 9th, 2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments?
I have one question.
Yes.
I noticed it was a little higher this year than a couple previous years. Is there any particular reason for it?
Part of it is that our rates are higher than they used to be. So as we've had the increased rates, so it's essentially, it's pretty close to the same number of accounts. It's just the balances that they have left behind are a little bit higher. I would like to mention that this is the maximum number that we will be writing off. It could be less, because if we get any collections between now and the end of the year on any of these accounts, then we won't have to write that balance off. And I do know that there's one item in there that's about $23. It's one of our customers that is currently being billed for CRW service by the city of Milwaukee, and they left a small balance, but they've been making payments to us for that, so I anticipate that $23 will be paid off before the end of the year and not written off.
Have any of our customers taken advantage of the $5,000 relief program that we established with St. Vincent de Paul?
We are still in the process of establishing that. We ran into a little bit of a speed bump with them as far as ensuring that that money would be available for CRW customers for water, but I believe we have that resolved, and I'll be bringing that to the board in July to kind of talk about that process, which will be just in time for the larger summer bills.
Thank you.
Your vote on this?
Aye.
Aye.
So are we calling for the question? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Aye.
Is that unanimous?
Yes.
Number 3 item, resolution 12/2016.
So we'll just keep Carol going.
Yeah.
She's on a roll.
Yeah, I'll try to talk fast.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve resolution number 12-2016, establishing wholesale water rates charged to Sunrise Water Authority effective July 1st, 2016.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
So this is our annual visit to wholesale water rates charged by CRW to Sunrise Water Authority. I will comment, there was a slight error in the board packet showing the rates changing from .65107 to .67364. We had inadvertently picked up that middle number that didn't include the power cost. So it is an increase of 2.24%, which includes the increase in power costs as well as the Portland-Salem Urban Consumers Price Index. So we're going from 65,885 to 67,364.
Any questions?
No. Okay. Got it.
Call for vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? Resolution 14/2016, increasing the general manager's spending authority for public works contracts to $75,000.
Mr. Chairman, I think you jumped ahead by
Did I?
one. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Resolution 13/26. approve authority authorization for bank accounts and check signatures.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution number 13-2016 to authorize bank accounts and check signatures effective June 9th, 2016.
Here a second?
Second.
And again, this is just a best practice coming to the board to essentially say we are still maintaining our banking relationship with U.S. Bank. We have a general checking account and a payroll account. The payroll account is a zero balance account, so money moves from the general account to the payroll account automatically just to cover the payroll costs. We're not changing the signers. It's still the general manager, the CFO, and the water resources manager. The reason I'm bringing this in June instead of July is as we transition to the new general manager, just wanted to bring it to the board's attention. We will be changing the facsimile signature that we use from Lee Moore to Todd Hagerton, and we'll be taking care of that this month before Lee leaves us.
Any questions? Your vote?
Aye.
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 Unanimous?
Now,
Now, number 5, resolution 14-2016. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the board, I would move to adopt resolution 14-2016 modifying the general manager's contracting authority for public improvement contracts. Again, effective date would be June 9th, 2016.
Do I hear a second?
second.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is in line with the current authority that Lee had. We're simply transferring that authority to Mr. Hagerty.
That's correct. This is should be a familiar looking resolution, given the fact that the board has previously adopted the exact same language. The difference is that other resolution had a sunset date, and this is the same resolution without that sunset date.
Any questions?
You will continue to obviously record and report the contracts that you do to the board so that we are aware of them.
Correct.
In process.
Yeah. Happy to.
Thank you. No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else? Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
Now we're to number 7. No, we're to number 6.
Item 6.
Item 6. Extension of legal services contract with Dean Phillips Law through December 31st, 2016.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the extension of the contract with Phillips Law as general counsel through December 31st, 2016, and authorize the general manager to sign the contract extension.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any questions?
I have one. We had some discussion as to whether or not it would be possible to negotiate the routine monthly fee down a little bit again. Were you able to have those discussions, and or were there any results from them?
I did talk to Mr. Phillips. Keep in mind, he's planning on retiring.
I understand.
And so I find it pretty gracious that he's willing to continue for the 6 months. The original plan was to retire at the end of June. So we had the discussion, but agreed to just move forward with the same contract that we've been working on for the next 6 months. Through that process, though, obviously the board and I will be in a process of trying to identify who the legal counsel is going to be for the future. And so that'll be more of a competitive process that we can talk about. And hopefully have some of those.
And it's still $5,000 a month on the retainer?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a slight modification. In the motion, I would add the word "on behalf of the board," authorize the general manager to sign the contract on behalf of the board. The reason for that is that under our policies, the legal counsel reports to the board. And so I think you should have that language in there so that it's clear. There's two functions that do that. Legal counsel and auditors. That's your right.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to addend the motion to include the words "on behalf of the board."
Where would that be? Excuse me, I have a question. Where are you putting that into the motion?
Right after the words "contract extension."
We go up under draft motion.
The board moves to approve the extension.
Of contracts with Mr. Phillips as general counsel through December 31st, 2016, and authorizes the general manager to sign on behalf of the board.
Oh, okay.
You accept the
Yeah,
modification?
that's fine. I just wasn't sure where it was going.
Okay, you hear a vote on the amended motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh.
Aye.
1 no,
One.
motion passes. Item 7, approval of temporary construction easement for Butterfield Lane transmission main, tax lot 22E 3600 103. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board accept the purchase of a temporary construction easement on TL 103 map 2S2E36 as described in attachment 1 and exhibit A, and authorize the general manager to sign the easement. Effective date, June 9th, 2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
So, board, I'd like to cue this up a little bit. As you know, we have a backbone project. We're trying to get these easements in place so that construction will begin. This one is a little bit unique in the sense that it's not the typical amount of money that we're talking about. I think that there are circumstances that makes the $9,000 appropriate. We have kind of a period and a C period. It has nothing to do with the chart. It's a C period. What that means is that we'll begin construction in 2017 and we'll complete construction in late 2018 at that time. But there is a lull period in between those two periods. And in order to preserve the easement, in our discussions with the owners of the property, it became important to be able to bridge that period, and it didn't really make much sense. In this case, where we're talking about a large open field in a quasi-residential community, to go in, grade out the site, put in gravel and those things for staging, then return it to its original condition, and then come in several months later, dig up what we put in, and regrade and the like. So what you're really looking at is essentially a 3-year easement for $9,000. The other dynamic of this site is that this is an area also that we'd like to eventually put a pump station. And that part of the discussion we have delayed with the owner, but I wanted to be upfront with her to let her know what our full intentions are, where we will be going back and attempting to purchase property for our pump station. So we'll be back again on this project, but I just wanted to give you a full picture of what's going on. I leave to Adam to talk about the technical aspects of this as it relates to construction and any other circumstances.
I didn't quite understand. So you said we had an open field, but that would take too much work to grade it down. So what is the part that we're renting, this easement? What makes that a better place?
Well, one of the things that, well, we had two options that we presented to, and Adam can show you what those are. We have two options here. and the owner chose the option that you see identified here.
Okay,
One of the things that happens in the rural areas, not just here, but elsewhere too, owners who generally have large open fields
okay,
will subcontract out that land for farming. In
Okay.
this particular area, they're subcontracted it out for, I think, wheat production. Is it hay? It's hay. And so the owner is very concerned that when we finish doing what we're doing, that we return that site to its original condition.
What's the zone for that?
What is that?
TBR.
TBR, it's forestry, isn't it?
Timber District.
Timber.
TBR.
So, yeah, yeah. Well, this is another area that, you know, not getting too far down the weeds, that we're dealing with the county on, because we're also finding that they have changed some of the designations
oh,
that may require us to approach some of these differently in the future. And I just wanted to give you a heads up about the full nature of this parcel, because you'll hear from us again.
so if we decide to buy it, make it a pump station, then we don't have to return it to,
Well, the area that we're gonna need for the pump station is gonna be substantially smaller
oh, I see,
than what
okay.
we're using for construction
Okay.
staging. So Adam has pulled it up there.
Okay, so maybe Adam can,
Yeah. Adam, why don't you just go ahead and just kind of talk about that, that could be helpful.
Yeah, no problem. I did pull up just Google Maps here really quick as just a clarifier, because I realized that the exhibit to the easement is a little too zoomed in. So Potter Road over here on the left, and then this is the private Butterfield Lane.
Is that frozen?
Running up the hill here. You follow my mouse here. So that initially, the property owner indicated that they would like us to use this very narrow strip just north of the Butterfield Lane, adjacent to Potter there. It's about a 30 by a couple hundred feet long strip that they thought would be less impactful to their neighbors' hay work on both that strip and the larger field up the hill, this area. Then they kind of came back and said, well, really, you're fine using the larger area. We like that plan, so that's what we have before in the exhibit.
so we'd be in that big space right there? That's
Yeah, so they currently lease or rent out the field. The neighbor does all the work to prep it, you know, and it's a pretty nice hay pasture out of it, and then harvest hay every summer. So that was taken into consideration with the temporary easement as well, you know, what value of loss of that space. And again, it's not the whole field, it's just a 150 by 150 square area here.
Okay,
This little stub out here is Clear Creek Telecom, has a substation there, but they have an easement with the property owner as well. They've had that for a number of years, 30 years, thereabouts. The pump station that Mr. Moore talked about on the future project under the backbone would be adjacent to that area that we're talking about for an easement, possibly even routed kind of adjacent to the telecom substation and maybe back and behind it. Possibly, again, that's kind of up for discussion as we talk to the property owner about where we best to site that. But because the discussion has been favorable with them about a land purchase in there for a pump station, on the Butterfield transmission main project, we're going to go ahead and install a T on that line, that 16-inch line, in anticipation of having a point then to connect to the pump station when that's constructed.
Adam, do you know, is Butterfield Lane, so the county has three kinds of road designations. They have private, public, and county. So what is Butterfield Lane?
Private.
It is
It is a private road.
One of the things that the board has asked us to be sensitive to in negotiating these easements in property is doing it in a way that it doesn't unnecessarily upset property owners.
oh, yeah.
And so what we've been doing here I mean, and what we have here is probably too much information, but we have a lady who is negotiating on behalf of her parents. And what it appears to me is that they're trying to kind of settle the estate, get things taken care of before the parents pass away. And so one of the things that you have to do when you get into these kind of situations is try to get inside the property owner's mind to the extent of what is it that you're intending ultimately to do with this parcel. And it appears to us that one of their concerns is that they want to be able, at some point in time, probably to subdivide some of this. Some of it for the daughter is going to be building a home there, and there may be other uses in the future, we're not sure. So one of the reasons that they rejected the long strip, even though they had originally told staff that that was something that they wanted, is that they were worried about frontage. And that if we moved in and really took advantage of the frontage, it would kind of diminish the value of their property.
Right.
Plus, there's a culvert running along the hip of the road there. And so, and then by moving it to the area that Adam identified, essentially that gives them less intrusion on the entire site. So those are some of the issues that we had to, and that we are working out with them in order to kind of meet their needs as well as meet our needs as we get into this.
Real quick, if I can just clarify the purpose of the yard. And it's spelled out in there's a restoration schedule at the very end of the easement document, page 5 of the easement document. And it lays out what Mr. Moore described, that the initial use would be this summer with the Butterfield Lane transmission main project, which would be starting this summer. And then the lag period would really be the following, next summer, 2017. And then the Redland Reservoir project would begin late 2017, very, very late in the year 2017, and go through the following summer. So that's that 3-year period that was described. That's all.
That's it.
You have a question?
You have a question over here?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And staff determination that the amount of money we're paying will pass muster when we have an audit of our bond funds?
Yes, we are. So the rate is similar to what we paid, it's just that the duration is longer.
Anyone else? Call the question.
Aye.
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 Approved, unanimous. Okay, consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Second. Vote.
Aye.
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 Approved, unanimous. Okay, the next is the management report for Todd.
Good evening, Commissioners. I want to start off my report by reporting on the transition process and recognize the fact that tonight's Mr. Moore's final public, officially public meeting for CRW. And so I just want to express my appreciation for him during this transition process. This has been very helpful to have him as a resource, have him as a person that can help with a number of different projects and just being able to provide some of the answers to some of the questions that I had as part of this whole transition phase. So I just want to thank you, Lee. I greatly appreciate this time and look forward to the remainder of our time together this month as part of this transition. I think it's been a valuable experience to have Lee here with me to help with that transition, so thank you very much. Moving on in the general manager's report, just some intergovernmental relations items. One, I just wanted to make the board aware that we did talk with the city of Milwaukee staff, and they had set up a meeting as one, an opportunity for us to meet and for them to get to meet a new face, new general manager, but also talk about possible improvements to the agreement that we currently have with the city of Milwaukee. And so there's some things that we'll continue to talk about in the future, and we'll be reporting back to the board as we make progress and kind of talking through and identifying what issues those might be. The other item was a subject at the work session. Just wanted to update you on the inquiry we received from the Lake Oswego Tiger Partnership, asking about if we could provide some assistance by providing some access to, temporary access to water rights. I have been making some calls to some of the other members of the Clackamas regional water providers, and so I'm still haven't completed all of those calls yet. But realistically, given where we're at in the season, it would be probably hard pressed to actually get through the process for the purposes of this summer. So, but I'll continue to follow up with them per the board's direction. And then the third item is the Clackamas River Water Providers meeting. Suzanne DiLorenzo attended that on behalf of the district. There's a variety of information in your packet with regards to the landowner and ratepayer surveys that they had conducted. I think one thing to note that's in the report to make you aware of is contained in the PGE Summer Operations Update, where in that PGE reported that Timothy Lake won't fill 100% this year. It'll be slightly under that, and that's due to the fact that they have to maintain certain flows, release certain flows to meet minimum fish flows. And so I figure they'll miss that target by about one foot. I think the other thing of note is with respect to the drawdown of the North Fork Reservoir in September. So we're going to see a little bit of different fluctuation of flows. So we'll probably see heavier flows as they try to drain that reservoir, and more limited flows as they work on the repairs. The next thing is just a report out from our work session. First off, I want to thank you for your patience and the opportunity to discuss a number of items. We had a good discussion as it related to the mid-cycle budget check-in. I thought it was very helpful to actually have a number of the members of the budget committee there as well to participate in that discussion, and want to thank Carl Bright for putting that together, and thank the budget committee members who were able to attend, and obviously the board as well. And then we had awareness, or I just want to make sure the board was aware of a number of different issues that were included in the document as well. Next item is a communications grant update. Just wanted to let the board know, since this was a subject of a work session a number of months ago, that we are still making progress. We actually look forward to bringing back an agreement to you in July, and we'll then be commencing the work in September. The backbone, I'm kind of characterizing these in three different areas. There's kind of the easements and properties, so you heard a little bit about one of the easements, but there's actually additional easement work and property work that's being conducted that we've highlighted, some survey work as it relates to the 152nd Reservoir site as well. Then you have the engineering and geotechnical work that's taking place as well. It's nice that we have some geotech firms on board that are going to be helping us as it relates to the Butterfield transmission main, and also the reservoir and the Spring Road transmission main projects as well. And then we're in the process of developing an RFQ as it relates to the design of two reservoirs that will need to be constructed as part of the backbone project. And then the third area I want to highlight is just the construction, which we're continuing to make progress as it relates to getting the contractor scheduled to start on the Butterfield transmission line. Looking ahead, there's a number of meetings to note. Obviously, Monday, the board has 2 meetings, while some of the board members have the Clackamas River Water Supply Commission meeting. That will be held at Sunrise Water Authority, and then directly after that, we're going to have the joint meeting of the Sunrise Water Authority and CRW boards to discuss kind of next steps as it relates to the 190 agreement. One thing that's not mentioned in these bullet points is I want to remind the board that we will need a work session on June 27th at 6 p.m. This is your typical work session time, but I wanted to make sure we highlight that. There'll be a number of items on the agenda, so a number of things to update the board on. And then the last bullet item is just to make you aware that I'll be attending the American Water Works Association annual conference. I have been asked on behalf of the Pacific Northwest section to represent the section during a session at the conference about responding to national focus on lead. What does it mean for our communities? And speaking of lead, that's obviously a topic that's been on high exposure here recently, subject of a lot of information, not only nationally but locally as well. And so I just wanted to take a minute to make sure that the board is aware of kind of our approach with respect to the lead issue is obviously one, making sure we're doing a good job of providing our customers with safe drinking water. And we do that on a consistent basis, and lead is obviously one of a number of different things that we're monitoring to make sure that we're doing a good job. As it relates to lead, it's also important that we're providing our customers with information, making sure that they're informed to know not only what's in the water that we provide them, but also what are some steps that they might be able to do to kind of limit the risks associated with some of the lead exposure issues. And then also to be a technical resource. We have some technical professionals that are very valuable in trying to help guide schools and businesses and homeowners and some of the complexities of this issue as well. So some objectives for CRW is obviously we monitor. We want to make sure we're doing a good job of monitoring results as it relates to lead. We want to make sure we're sharing information, and so we did that with a recent consumer confidence report or water quality report that's been distributed or available to everybody through our website. We've also made our customers aware that report's available. And then we want to be a technical resource. One of the challenges with the lead issue is it's one of those situations where some of the exposure as a result of lead doesn't result so much from the water, but it results from what the water may interact with beyond the meter, on the private side of the meter. And so even though we provide water that doesn't have any detectable lead in it, you may have instances where you may have some homes or as we're hearing in the news about schools that may have that additional exposure. And so, and again, the challenge with that is that's beyond the control of the districts. But what we can do is be that resource. And so we've armed our staff with talking points, making sure that they have some background on our information, because as people realize that they work for water providers, that they're going to get asked about this information as well. So we've provided the staff with talking points. We've also put a variety of information on our website, and then we're also reaching out to some of the schools and others to serve as a resource and see if they need any help as it relates to helping guide them through the testing process. So that's it on lead. Two quick items that aren't included in the report I just want to make the board aware of is we did get an inquiry about leasing property, the Roberts property. We did express to the person that we're not interested in pursuing that at this time. And then I also wanted to circle back with the board. Last meeting we talked a little bit about the Highway 213 project, the water line repair work that's going to be conducted there. It is scheduled for the week of June 20th, and so that was one of the concerns that the board had as far as the timing of that. I think we addressed that, so it's after school, and we are planning on using some extra signage to make sure that people are notified of that work before that commences. So that concludes my report.
Can you remind me which part of 213 that was on?
King Henry 6.
Okay, so is that before or after you get to, okay, my mind just went. The big intersection, you know, you're coming off I-205 and you're going down.
It's past Beaver Creek. It's
That's
south-
past Beaver Creek.
It's
That
south
was
of
the-
Beaver Creek by about a mile, mile and a half.
Yeah. Thank you, that's what I want to know.
Thank you. That's it.
Any questions? Anything from the sign here, we have the two signatures, anybody with a question? Gary?
I signed up the clock on this one. You all right?
Gary Kerr, Ranger. I had a couple of questions, part of which were answered on the Lake Oswego temporary. Just a comment on temporary government agreements. Continuing resolutions happen all the time with those things, and I would just recommend that whatever the agreement has, it has specific dates in it. So that you've got to come back and review it rather than just continuing resolution through that. And I would be concerned with dates. If they have two shortages, they may want to make that more permanent than just temporary. So I was concerned about that. Second thing I wanted to talk about on this, I wanted to thank Dean Moore for all his effort and his work that he has done since he's been here as the manager. I think he's done a great job, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? And I adjourn the meeting. We have an